Okay. Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome
Ooh.
back to the Pride Podcast, episode 393 on the Blue Wire Network live show edition. Joined by my main guy, as always, Mr. Malcolm Hart. Malcolm, how are you feeling?
Yo, what's going on, man? Glad to be back, man. This is a late night live show, man. But we're here, man. You're talking about the
That's a
schedule.
back-to-back episodes that we did late night. I mean, not as late as that one episode we recorded right after day one of the NFL draft. We
Yeah.
are here to do a schedule reaction. I mean, we always knew who the opponents were going to be since January, but we officially got the list of when they're going to play these games and primetime games. And, we got it all. We're going to break it all down. So let's just get right into it. Let's get into this Detroit Lions schedule. So we're going to do this by chunks. So I'm going to do this by 4-game periods. We're going to talk, react about a 4-game period, see how we like these games, how we think the Lions are going to fare in these games. So let's just get right into it. September. So the Lions have 4 games in September, 2-2, 2 on the road, 2 at home. They are starting the season off at Lambeau Field. And then in week 2, they'll be home versus Chicago Bears. Week 3 at Baltimore on Monday Night Football. Week 4, come back home, play the Cleveland Browns. Malcolm, that first chunk of the season, where are your first initial reactions?
Man, my first initial reaction is, we got 2 divisional opponents back to back. The very first and second week. So that's huge. The Lions come out and win these 2 games. They're already going to be 2-0 in the division, and they're going to be 2-0 in the season. Just those first 2 games alone. So I think that's huge. So those first 2 games are big for the Lions. Traveling to Baltimore is going to be interesting because that's Baltimore's a really tough AFC team. And then you play Cleveland right after. So I mean, if I had to take like expectations on that first quarter, that first half, the first 4 games, I mean, I'll be happy if they come out 3-1 from those first 4 games.
Yeah, I think 3-1 is a good expectation, like as something that you could be taken as a positive as a Lions fan. I think 2-2 is not the worst case scenario either, but it's one of those scenarios, man. Like you mentioned, you got 2 division games in here. You don't want to drop those games. So to start the season off with 2 huge division games, those are very, very critical, man. We saw, especially last year, right, like how important division games end up really being. It came down to having to win 15 games. It came down to a Week 18 game versus Minnesota for the division. So that division tiebreaker is absolutely huge. So, these are 2 big games right off the get-go. And I don't want to say it's concerning, but like week 1, week 2 are the most, let's just say, like, you just don't know what's going to happen. Like, crazy stuff happens in the NFL week 1, week 2. And it's not to say the Lions are going to drop these games and that's how it's going to go, but there are some unpredictability for sure in the first, I would even say the first month of the NFL season. I think the real football really starts usually once October comes around. First month of football, man, like you're coming out of training camp, anything could realistically happen. But I think overall, you look at the opponents, I don't think it's too bad, but it's not a cakewalk either. I mean, you're going to Green Bay, that's always tough. Luckily, it's going to be early in the season, so it won't be, in the cold. It won't be in the frozen tundra in Green Bay. Chicago, Ben Johnson will make his first ever road game as a head coach. Will be in that hostile Detroit environment. And, Detroit fans are going to have some words for him. And then you go to Baltimore Monday Night Football. That's always going to be a tough game. Baltimore's a very, very good football team. And then you close off the month, I think, versus Cleveland at home. I think that should be, I don't want to say a gimme, but that should be a game that you should hopefully win that game. So I agree with you. I think 3-1 is a good, fair expectation for the first month of the season. And that'd be very good for the Lions.
Yeah, man, it's very interesting that you said, you talked about how how the beginning of the season is, and we've seen a lot of crazy stuff happen. Would you have rather play these 2 teams? When I'm talking about these 2 teams, I'm talking about the Packers and Chicago. Would you have rather play them like mid-season instead of just right off the jump, or is this fine? Like whatever.
I mean, the Lions haven't shown they're a team to come off the cold starts. I mean, they're not one of those teams, but we've seen it around the NFL that like it could happen. So I mean, it goes both ways though. Like it could be the same disadvantage for the Green Bay Packers and Chicago Bears just as much as it is for us. Like it's the same exact thing for them. I mean, like it's early in the season, and if anything, I think it's more of a disadvantage for the Chicago Bears because it's a first-time head coach, and sometimes it takes a little bit of an adjustment. That could be something that takes a whole year. Sometimes it could take a half a year. Sometimes they get it going right away, but that's usually not the case. For a first-time head coach, it usually takes a little bit of a time to have some adjustments. So I would say for the Bears aspect, I think you're catching them actually at a good time, playing them early in the season. Ben Johnson having his first road game in Detroit, like that's not an easy environment to come into for your first road game ever as an NFL head coach.
Yeah, it's gonna be a very hostile environment. Yeah, I think he's like one of the ops now, like the way that the Lions fans feels.
100%.
Yeah, so that's gonna be interesting, man. I think they're gonna really give it to him.
I mean, obviously he knows what it takes to win here. He's been here for multiple years, but he's never been on that other sideline. I think it's a completely different atmosphere, a different complete vibe for a head coach and just for a team in general. Being on that complete opposite end of of the sideline. So I would say for the Bears, week 2, I think the Lions are catching them at a good time. I'd rather catch them earlier than later. Not that I'm not necessarily think I view the Bears as a big threat, but I'd rather catch them, while they're coming out of training camp. They're installing new stuff in there. I think the Lions will be more prepared than the Chicago Bears. So I would say it's actually a more advantage for the Lions for that game for week 2.
I mean, that works. I mean, but I don't want to take too much time on these 4 teams. But before we move on, I just want to know, did you as far as watch their moves as far as the Chicago Bears in the offseason? Like, do you know who their coordinators are? And as far as that, as far as Ben Johnson, is he going to be calling the offensive plays or is he giving it to
he's calling offense.
He's calling offense? Okay.
Yeah, that's what the expectation is right now, that he's going to call offense. Obviously, I don't think that's officially confirmed. I think they'll probably be confirmed in camp, but the expectation, I think, is that Ben Johnson's going to call offensive plays this year.
Okay.
So, and then defensive coordinator, I can't think of the top of my head. It's Dennis Allen, the former Saints head coach.
Okay.
Yeah, he is his DC. So, so I mean, you got some, experience there. Obviously, he's a former head coach. But yeah, I think that's going to be the play caller. I think it's going to be, Ben Johnson calling the plays for Chicago.
Okay.
Yeah. So, all right, let's get into the second wave of, I guess the second chunk of the season, October. This is some tough football here. So you're traveling to Cincinnati, and you're going to travel to Arrowhead and play the Kansas City Chiefs. Monday Night Football in Detroit versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers. But week 8 is a bye week. The Lions get favorited finally for the first time. It feels like forever. They finally get a pretty good bye. I like this week 8 bye. But ranking the Bengals, Chiefs, Buccaneers, what do you look at that for the second chunk of the season?
Those are, we have 2, very solid AFC opponents with the Bengals and the Chiefs, really good quarterbacks. And then you have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. To be honest with you, I honestly, looking at these 3 teams, I feel like it can either go either way. I think the Lions should win these games against these 3 teams. The Chiefs, you have Patrick Mahomes. He could, they could still win that game. I'm expecting us to win these 3 games right here.
That's these 3 games are really tough. It's not that I think the Lions are going to lose these games, but they're very tough games. I mean, you're going to some tough atmospheres. Cincinnati, you're going to Arrowhead, and then Buccaneers were a team that gave you some fiddles last year. I know there's some maybe confliction saying they should have probably still won that game. They kind of lost themselves. It feels like they kind of shot themselves in their own foot. But that's a team that's given the Lions, I don't want to say issues, because we beat them a pretty good handle of times. We beat them in the playoffs the year before. We beat them in their place that same year. But, they give us a good game. They're a tough team. Todd Bowles has that team right. And this is a team we're going to talk about a little later on. I'm not going to say – I'm not comparing them, but they're a team that always has a good defense, man, and especially a front 4. And it's just always good on good. You got that Lions offensive line, that Tampa Bay Buccaneers front 4. It's just a good matchup both ways. So that should be a really, really interesting matchup. And the NFL looks like they're interested as well. They put that matchup on prime time, putting that game on Monday Night Football. So that should be a really interesting one. But, looking at that Cincinnati KC game, that's going to be really, really interesting, man. That's a really big test early on in the season. Something to note, though, I will say with Cincinnati, they are a known team that has slow start teams, and I think by week 5, they should probably be adjusted by then. But when you catch the Chiefs on week 1, or I'm sorry, the Bengals week 1 or week 2, that's a team like you are never surprised that they have an upset loss. I think they lost to the New England Patriots last year, week 1, who had a first-time head coach with Gerard Mayo. And then I think a couple of years ago, they lost to a Cleveland Browns team week 1 who was not really good either. So they're just a team that is known for choking week 1 and week 2. So week 5 is a little different game because that's usually when they start to get adjusted, they start to get a little comfortable. So we'll see, man. That's going to be a really big test for this Lions defense, man. Like you said, Joe Burrow is phenomenal. Jamar Chase is phenomenal. T. Higgins is phenomenal. It's a lot of load on offense. I mean, you're getting a lot of good offenses in this 3-week stretch. You're going from playing Burrow and Chase to playing Patrick Mahomes with Chris Collinsworth on the broadcast, and then you get to play Baker Mayfield, and obviously that sick receiving core with Mike Evans. If Chris Godwin's healthy, they drafted Abukum from Ohio State this year. Very, very good offenses. So big test for Kelvin Shepard and this Lions defense in this October stretch.
Yeah, and those are 3 really good quarterbacks, man. You talking about the Bengals and the Chiefs, talking about the elites, and then you got Baker Mayfield, who's been playing, since he got with Tampa. He's been a brand new guy, brand new quarterback, and he's up there. So he's up there as well as far as efficiency, as far as making plays and throwing touchdowns. So 3 good quarterbacks. Like you said, man, it's going to be tough. It's tough, especially those 2 road games. Tough atmosphere. Wonder what happens, man. Yeah. I have them, coming up and winning these 3 games, but it's really a coin flip, man. It's not like we're going to dominate any of these games here.
Yeah, I mean, you look at this 3-game stretch. These are all pretty much primetime games. You get the Bengals at 4:25. You get the Chiefs on Sunday Night Football, and then you get the Buccaneers Monday Night Football. So these are going to be some very, very, I think, exciting football games for NFL fans. But I love having a bye right after that. Like that's a pretty big gauntlet right there, right? Playing those 3 teams. That's a good time to have, I think, a bye week, right? Because you're going to put a lot of emphasis and focus on these 3 games. So having that bye week right after them, I think, is a perfect lead up to what I'm going to come up to the game right here. You're at home versus Minnesota. Be well rested. Another big division game. So you're looking at November here, coming off the bye. You play Minnesota at home. Then you have to travel to Washington to play the Commanders. Travel to Philly on Sunday Night Football. And then you finish off November with the Giants. And then you have a short week on Thanksgiving with the Packers. So a lot of games right there. But let's start off very slow. Vikings after the bye week. You got to like that one, right?
Yeah, you definitely coming off the bye. Hopefully, a lot of guys are not like really, really banged up. And, having that bye, week 8, we have a good stretch that we could play some really good football. Now, it gets a little tougher here. Now it pretty much gets real. The Vikings, I think they're going to give us, another dogfight. The Vikings every year, surprisingly. I mean, I don't know how they do it. But they always they're solid. Like last year, we saw them with Sam Darnold, and they were a solid team. But now they have JJ McCarthy, and they still have the same defense. I think it's going to be a tough game. And then right after that, you got the Washington Commanders and Philadelphia Eagles. 2 tough teams, 2 good quarterbacks, mobile quarterbacks, type of quarterbacks that give us problems as a defense. Now, hopefully, since we have a new coordinator, it'll be a little bit different as far as us containing those mobile quarterbacks. But I'm expecting those quarterbacks to give us trouble with the Commanders and the Eagles. And then following it up with the Giants, I think that's going to be a get-right game for us. I'm not expecting the Giants to look good this year. I mean, that's just me.
I mean, you shouldn't, but yeah.
No, I think this is gonna be a game like a revenge game from the Pistons next game. Like they're just gonna take the anger from that game and just transfer it to that game, and
I'm down for it. I don't hate that. I'm okay with that. Sure.
I guess he was transferring the anger from that game and then putting it to this game and then putting the work on the Giants. I can see that happening. Yeah, I'm not expecting much from the Giants.
I mean, obviously, we have to see how these first 7 games play out. There's going to probably be some injuries and whatnot, right? But, something that when I saw this schedule and just looking at timelines potentially, something that's critical for me, I was looking at is the Aleem McNeil return potentially. And I'm kind of, I mean, I am no doctor. I have no intel on this. My Tyler Sawa intel right here. I think this is a good expectation. Is I think around that bye week is a time where we can get Aleem McNeil back.
Oh.
That's hopefully, right? Like, hopefully everything goes well. He's recovering well. Maybe it's sooner. But I think that's a good timeline from when he got hurt last year. He's young. I think he's recovering. So that bye week, right? I think that's huge because, like you said, that these are some tough games right after the bye week. You're playing Minnesota. Hopefully you can get healthy that game because, you're going to you're going to have some injuries in that first 7 weeks. So hopefully it's not too bad. You get right, you get healthy, you go healthy, you play you have a healthy Detroit Lions team playing versus the Minnesota Vikings at home. That's a big division game right there. And then, like you mentioned, man, those 2 road games, very, very tough. Washington is a team that knocked you out of the playoffs. They gave you a fiddle last year. They're going to be good again this year, I think. I really do think they'll be good again this year. I don't think what they did last year was a fluke. I think what they did was a startup of a good startup of a team that's getting going, right? And they're a team and they got better. I think they're going to take that next step potentially, kind of like how the Lions did a couple of years ago. A team that got better, made to the NFC Championship, and then had a phenomenal year last year. Now, are they going to win 15 games? I don't know about that, but do I think they'll be really good? Yes. So playing in their home, even if it's in that shithole FedEx Stadium. It'll be tough. It'll be tough. I mean, it's a good football team there in Washington, and then you follow up going to Sunday Night Football, playing in Philadelphia. That will also be a tough game. Yes, they lost a lot of pieces, but they are the Super Bowl. They're the reigning champions for a reason. They will be good. They will give us some issues. So 3 tough games in a row. Then, like you said, that Giants game. Regardless of what happens these 3 games, I feel like that should be a little. I don't want to say easy, but that should be a game that you should be able to get right.
Easy.
Maybe not put much emphasis. Maybe you look back at last year's schedule, like one of those AFC South games potentially. That's why I view this Giants game. Like one of those kind of just get right games, take care of business, and just go win that football game. So
I was gonna say I'm expecting a double-digit spread.
That's fair. That's fair. Will who will be the starting quarterback for the New York Giants that game? That is week 12. So they have Russell. I'm not starting for them, even if they ask me. They have Russell Wilson. Actually, I will. I'm lying. But they have Russell Wilson, Jameis Winston, and they drafted Jackson Dart in the first round. Week 12. Who's starting for the New York Giants?
Russell Wilson.
You think Russell will still be the starting quarterback for them?
Yeah, I think he will.
Okay. I'll say Russell too. But actually, I'll be different. Rookie Jackson Dart will be in by then. Rookie Jackson Dart will be the starting quarterback by then. Week 12.
No way. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Like you have to kill camp. Ball out. Yeah. No.
How about your boy Famous Jameis? I know it's your boy.
Nah. I just think he's hilarious.
Yeah, that's your boy.
I just think he's hilarious, but no, because they have too much problems. I mean, I haven't kept up with them as far as all the moves they made in the offseason, but I'm pretty sure they're still gonna have offensive line issues.
Yeah, they should. They're not expected to be a good football team.
No, yeah, they're not. No, I don't know.
I like the double-digit spread. I think that's a good take. I think that's something that's very realistic for this game to be.
I mean, they had a solid draft.
I just don't think it'll be an effect as far as competing with a team like the Lions right away.
No.
So, all right. Now looking at the schedule in the big picture, I didn't even realize this. We have 3 straight home games after that Commanders-Eagles stretch. So you play the Giants at home, Thanksgiving short week versus the Packers, and then you play the following Thursday on Amazon versus the Dallas Cowboys. So you got 3 straight home games. that realistically, hopefully, if you could walk away with all three of those games, you're in really good shape, man. Like that's when the football really starts to kick in. Once you get into that middle, late November, starting into December, that's when you kind of want to be on your best football, playing your best football. So I think that's a good momentum starter, right? Like Washington, Philly could be tough. Go get right versus New York. Go win versus the Packers on Thanksgiving. Go beat the Cowboys next Thursday. And then let's go play December football. Let's go play December football, and let's get ready for the playoffs at that point. That's a big stretch for this Lions team. I think that could be a get-right game because I think you could expect some potential losses between that Vikings, Commanders, Eagles stretch because that's a very tough stretch of football.
Yeah. I mean, I'm expecting at least maybe two losses in that stretch. But like you said, man, those 3 home games, I'm not saying it'll be cakewalk. Well, the Giants one might be, but I think they have a real good shot to sweep those last three home games.
Yeah, I think that'd be very, very big. And then continuing with the schedule, another home game essentially going to Los Angeles. I know Lions fans will completely take over that game because the Rams fans don't exist. So that'll essentially be another home game for you right there. And then you have another actual home game versus Pittsburgh. So like I think December, and then that final Week 18 game, I guess is TBD, but I think it'll probably be in January. Yeah, it'll be in January. So looking at that final stretch after Philly and Commanders, I think that's a point where the Lions could get really hot at this point. And that's a point where you want to see them play their best football. And let's get ready for January and hopefully February football. I think that's the stretch right there. From New York to the end of the season. That's when you got to go, hey, it's all full go at that point.
Wait a minute. That TBD game, is NFL implying that may be a game for the division or something? Or
it might be so every game Week 18 is TBD. Like every NFL game in general. So they have to do that.
Got you. Okay. I was going to say, why would he
So they make every game. So the way the NFL schedule works on Week 18 is there was 2 Saturday games, and then there are 1 p.m. games, 4 p.m. games, and then the 1 Sunday night football game, which we had last year, obviously, for the division. That's usually the Sunday night game they reserve is for a division, playoff spot, whatever it is. They're all division games in the NFL, all around the NFL world. So, I mean, the expectation is hopefully, looking at this early, hopefully that's just a game where you're hopefully not playing many starters. It's not an important game. 1 o'clock, playing in the Windy City, and let's just get out of there. Who cares what the results are? That's hopefully. Hopefully that game doesn't matter. So
hopefully that's the plan.
But other than that, right? That stretch from New York to Minnesota, Chicago, that's a stretch I want to see the Lions get hot in. And let's go into playoff football.
Yeah. Now, let me ask you a question.
They have the schedule to do it.
Yeah, they do. Let me ask you a question, man. How do you feel about that number 1 seed? Say we do get hot.
Yeah.
Say we go through this stretch of games, we sweep, they get hot. Now we have the number 1 seed, but guess what? We have a bye.
Yeah.
Does that kill momentum? How do you feel about that? Or do you want us to just not have the bye, go into that, go to that stretch of games, win all those stretch of games, and then go right into that playoff game?
I know last year it bit us in the ass, and
sure did.
I'm still always taking the number 1 seed, though. Sorry.
Yeah, because you got home field advantage.
Home field advantage. I think an automatic advancement to the next round, I think, is just it's huge, man. Like that wild card game is never a gimme. That's not a given. You're going to be in the divisional round. So to have a guarantee that you'll be in the divisional round and have the advantage of playing home playoff games for as much as you win to the Super Bowl, I'm sorry. I know it bit us in the ass last year, and some people will blame it on that. Now I'm taking home field advantage all the way. I'm still taking that number 1 seed if it's there and if you could win it.
Yeah, it's like a damn if you do, damn if you don't.
Yeah,
that's the way it feels, man.
But realistically, looking at the schedule, man, like it's gonna be hard, man. It's gonna be really hard to get a number 1 seed. And I mean, shit. I think that, like, if I had to predict right now, I think they win the division. But like, this division's not gonna be easy either. The Green Bay Packers are improved. The Minnesota, I know some people think there could be some regression there. They have a rookie quarterback going in, but like we don't know, man. That's a team that everyone gave no credit to last year, and they won 14 games last year. You know what I mean? Yeah. So
I
Minnesota's
don't get it.
They're just one of those teams you cannot count out. So people are expecting regression. I expected regression last year, and they won fucking 14 games. So who knows what happens with them? Chicago, Ben's cute, good story. I don't think they're gonna win many. I don't think it's going to be some major improvement year one at least. Like, do I think they'll get better? Yes, but like, what's better? 7 wins, 8 wins? Yes, maybe that. But do I think they're going to compete for a division in this division? I don't. I'm sorry.
So where do you have them? You got to rank like the teams right now in our division. I know you have the Lions number 1, which they should be. But where do you have the other teams?
I'd go Lions, Packers, Vikings, Bears. But
so Bears is still at the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough for them. I mean, the other 3 teams, I think, are just all playoff teams, or at least all teams that could be playoff teams.
Yeah.
Vikings, on paper, they should regress, but again, I'm not counting them out, man. Until they prove it, I'm not counting them out because they're just a team that always finds ways to win, and it doesn't matter the situation. I mean, they came into the season last year with Sam Darnold as their quarterback that had 0 expectations. They got him a big contract. He's on a different team now, so I respect what they do over there. I don't have to like their team, but I respect what they do over there. They just find ways to win. Kevin O'Connell, I think, is a phenomenal coach. I think Brian Flores is a very good defensive coordinator. So, they're just one of those teams, man. They just find ways to win. So I would rank it that way, but would it shock me come, football season that the Vikings are ahead of the Packers? Absolutely not.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I have it the same way you do. I think that's realistic. I think the Packers are going to be right there. They're going to be that team that's going to be on our ass the whole year. We're like, damn, can he just lose a goddamn game? I think that the Packers are going to be one of those teams. Vikings, it could be another one of those teams. I mean, who knows? The Bears, they're young. I don't know, man. It's a year or 2 for Caleb. They do have a good receiving core. I haven't seen much of what they did with the offensive line. Do you know if they improved the offensive line much?
Yeah, they added Joe Thuney, who's a veteran from the Chiefs, and they added Jonah Jackson, who we're obviously all familiar with.
Oh, shit,
so,
yeah.
I mean, he's coming off a down year with the Rams, but we know his capability. He could be a good player, and he's obviously really good in Ben's system. So I could see him having a bounce-back year for the Bears and just for his career in general.
I think it's going to be a tough division. I mean, I want to be shocked if the Bears are solid too, man. Ben Johnson, I know right now he's public enemy number 1, but I think you got to give credit where credit's due. He's a good coach, man. Good play caller. I just wonder how that's going to translate to Chicago.
Yeah, he's a great play caller. We know that, but we've seen this story before in the NFL. I mean, I'm not saying that he's going to fail, but we've seen the story before. A great play caller. How is he going to be as head coach? I think that's just too early to tell. That's something we have to see and watch and how it plays out first. So I'm not ready to crown them yet, but I agree with you. I think he has the tendencies to be a really, really good coach. But again, I mean, it's a different game. I mean, being an OC and being a head coach is a completely different ball game. So we've seen it happen multiple times where a great play caller tries to, be a head coach and it fails miserably. I mean, you saw it firsthand, Chicago, Matt Nagy.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting, man. I want to see how I'm interested to see how he is as a coach, man. I want to see if he's gonna take a lot of Dan Campbell stuff. Like, is he gonna go for it on 4th down? Like is he be as aggressive as a head coach as Dan Campbell, like how Dan Campbell is? Or
I don't know.
Yeah,
it's a little different. Yeah, like he's not gonna have that rah like Dan, but as far as the in-game coaching, that's gonna be interesting. I think if anything, Aaron Glenn models more of Dan Campbell than Ben Johnson. Not saying as far as in-game coaching, but as far as how he'll connect with the players, how he'll get the locker room right. I think Aaron Glenn will do more of a Dan Campbell type of job than Ben Johnson will. And Ben Johnson might be able to connect with these guys in a different way, but I don't think it'll be like Dan Campbell if that's what
two different guys. Yeah, it's two different guys. Yeah, because Aaron Glenn and Dan Campbell, they both former players, play at a high level. Yeah. So they're able to connect to the players because they were them. So yeah, I'm expecting the same thing. I think Aaron Glenn, like you said, more of a Dan Campbell than Ben Johnson is.
Yeah, but as far as in-game management, I don't know how either of them will take it, especially Ben. So, I think he'll be aggressive. I think he's seen it here, and I think he obviously loves it. So, we'll see what happens. But yeah, those are going to be some interesting games, man. Overall, though, what's your big takeaway from this schedule? You like the primetime games, the schedule making. What's the big takeaway?
I think I mean, they has listed as one of the tougher schedules. Which you're looking at the schedule, it is pretty tough with the opponents, especially. I mean, our division alone is just tough games. But I think the Lions is a tough team. So I think I'm not saying we're gonna have a similar, the same exact record as last year, because going back to back, 15 wins, it's pretty damn tough. Yeah. But it could be very close to where it was last year. I have us, having a great year. I have us, going very similar to last year. Not the same exact number, not 15 wins, but very similar. Like I said, I have us winning the division. I have us having a great year.
All right, let's do a ceiling, prediction, floor. So we'll start off with the ceiling. What do you think the Detroit Lions ceiling is for the 2025 season?
I mean, Detroit Lions right now, I mean, they're a different team than they were 2 years ago. I mean, their ceiling is going to be high. And when I say high, I'm looking at 14, 15 games. That could be their ceiling. Realistically, like if I had to say, if I had to give them a number, what I think they're going to get 14 wins is good. The floor, if they lose, I mean, if they have less than 11 wins, that's going to be a little, and that's still a good year. 11 wins, it's not bad. You're still a playoff team. You might not be a division win, but I think 11 wins is still good. But I think that's their floor. That's if they lose game that they should win. That could be their floor is 11 wins. But I don't know. I'm not expecting that. But there's a lot to see, man, because there's a lot of question marks with this team still. I mean, I'm going by our roster and what I think they should do, but there's a lot of question marks, man. We have no idea what our coordinator is going to look like. No, we have no idea.
You're right. So you're going 14 wins is your prediction?
Yeah, my prediction right now, if I had to predict how many wins they're going to get next year, I'm going to say 14.
14? Okay. And ceiling was 15, right? Okay.
Yeah, about 15. They could steal one of those games that they probably shouldn't win, that I don't think they're going to win. Then yeah, 15.
Yeah. Okay. I'm with you with the ceiling. I think the ceiling has to be what they did last year, I think, right? 15 wins. I don't think you move the goalpost back of a ceiling, at least. I know they lost some coordinators, so that's very big. So maybe people will do that, but I'm keeping the ceiling at the same spot. Now, my expectation for this football team is not the ceiling. The ceiling is if everything goes right. Kind of like how, well, I guess not everything went well last year, but you know what I mean, right? As far as winning games, they found ways to win last year every single week. So I'm going to keep it at that. That's the ceiling for the Detroit Lions. It's going to be 15 wins. My expectation for this football team, I've been juggling around two numbers. I'm thinking either 12 or 13. That's the two numbers I've been juggling around. It's a tough schedule, right? I think realistically, I hope. I don't think it's going to have to be 15 wins again like it was last year to win division. I think realistically, you look at that number, I think 12 could get it done this year in the NFC North. We'll see, right? Anything could happen, right? But I think 12 could get it done. So I'll take the lower number. I'm going to go 12. That is my expectation. That's my prediction for the Lions. They go 12-5. Floor, I'm kind of with you on the same page. You said 11. I think 11-6, 10-7, probably the floor for this football team. The thing with 10-7, man, if a lot of things go wrong, right? 10-7. If they go, they go 10-7, I mean, you're not even guaranteed a playoff spot at that point. Like the Seahawks went 10-7 last year. They didn't get the playoff. They didn't get in the playoffs last year.
No, yeah.
So
that'll be very very discouraging if they do get 10 wins.
Yeah, at the minimum, the Lions have to win. I think at least 11, just to get in the dance. Just get in the dance at the very minimum. We'll let the Lions get hot. We'll let the Lions get hot. It's just, there's a fire alarm going off, and that alarm will be going off. That alarm will be going off if we win 10 games this year. That alarm will be going off if we win 10 games this year. So let's not have that alarm go off again. So, yes, I think the floor would be 10 games. That would be a pretty bad scenario for the Detroit Lions if they were to win 10 games because, like I said, that is not a guaranteed playoff spot, and you're relying on other teams to start losing games and all that, and you just don't want to be in that position. So I'll say we're good.
Yeah, we're good.
The sirens are off.
I just moved, and this damn alarm shit just keeps going off at random times. I need to figure out how to turn that shit off.
I thought we had an emergency pod coming up or something.
It wasn't no emergency podcast. I mean, it almost was emergency because the shit was gonna keep beeping and driving me absolutely crazy. But no, we're fine.
I thought we had some breaking news or something. All right.
Yeah. No. What you're saying is right, man. Shit. 10. If we got 10 wins, that's gonna be bad.
That'd be bad. Those sentences going off. Oh.
Yeah. Shit.
One final note on the schedule. I'm completely cool with every single game outside of one. I like all the primetime games. I like the bye week this year. I'm cool with it, right? I think everything's fine. Why the hell did the NFL put us on Christmas Day?
I don't know, man. On fucking Netflix?
On Netflix. I mean, come on, man. We already got Thanksgiving. You're going to give us Thanksgiving and Christmas? Like, you're going to give me 2 holidays to be stressing about my football team? I don't want to be stressing with the Detroit Lions on Christmas. I'm sorry.
Damn that, bro. What do you think about the players, bro?
That stinks, dude. feel bad for the media, too. The beat writers, you have to travel with the team, too.
Yeah, they do. Shit. That's Thanksgiving and Christmas. Fuck.
Yeah, I mean, like, Thanksgiving is an expectation, right? The Lions and Cowboys are signed up for Thanksgiving every single year. That's great. I love that tradition. I don't need another game. I don't need another holiday. I'm sorry. I don't need Christmas football for the Detroit Lions, man. That's a day I would love to sit. It's a day I like to sit back, enjoy the day with my family, and watch other NFL teams play. I don't need to watch my NFL team play on Christmas Day. I'm sorry.
Now I gotta fucking kick everybody out. Watch the goddamn Lions game.
and they gave us the worst time slot of all the 3. You had to put us right in the middle of the day, 4:30. You couldn't give us at least a 1:00 game. Maybe I delay plans a little bit. Say, hey, let's start plans at 5:00, 4:30, right? You gave me 4:30 start time. You shitting me? I can't leave early. I can't come late. I'm gonna be at the occasion regardless. Yeah. What a terrible thing to happen for Lions fans. Or at least for me.
Yeah, it could have been like a 12:30 or something. Like if it was 12:30, it wouldn't be that bad.
It wouldn't have been bad. It'd be just like Thanksgiving. I delay plans a little bit. I go to my plans afterwards.
Yeah,
fine. We still have a whole day. It's gonna be good. It'll be fine. 4:30. I'm not gonna cuss. 4:30 in the freaking day.
Yes.
On Netflix, man. Come on, NFL.
Yeah, my kids are gonna be like, Daddy. I'm like, no, leave me the hell alone till this Lions game is over.
If they don't win this game, this is good.
I'm about to return all the games. Nobody's getting Christmas. Christmas is gonna be canceled. I'm canceling Christmas.
If they somehow lose Thanksgiving and Christmas, my family's gonna hate me. My family's gonna hate me.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say foul stuff that I shouldn't be saying. I'm gonna say unnecessary stuff that I shouldn't be saying. And I don't mean it, but it's gonna come out.
Yeah, that was bad scheduling. I don't like games on Netflix, man.
If it's other teams, I don't care. If it's just I don't want to watch the Lions on Christmas. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think the NFL killed it. I think the primetime games are cool. I love you got a Monday night game in Baltimore. I think I like starting the game in Green Bay. The season in Green Bay, that's cool. Arrowhead Sunday Night Football, that's a very cool game. It's a game we're talking about potentially going to. That'd be awesome.
Yep.
Philly Sunday night, that's cool. Yeah, a lot of Thursdays though. Looking at the schedule, I mean, you got Thanksgiving next week, then versus the Cowboys, and then they gave us Christmas. My goodness, three Thursdays within a month. That is unbelievable.
Yeah, that's gonna be tough for me. Fuck.
Oh yeah, with your camp, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
I'll make it work.
Yeah, at least one of them's Christmas, so you don't have to worry about that. But yeah, the other two, yeah.
But they start at 8:30.
Oh, one of them's Thanksgiving, and one of them is Christmas. So you should be fine. It's just that one versus Dallas.
8:15. I'll make it work.
We're canceling camp that day. For whoever attends Malcolm's boxing camp, well, we're not having class that day.
No, I'll just end it as soon like 7:30, then that's it. 7:30, then I'm out.
Hey, you guys better no chopping after. You know, we're done. 7:30, everyone leave. Everyone leave. You know,
yeah, I'm done. I am done.
He's clocking out.
But yeah, no, we should be fine.
All right. I think that's it. You got anything else out on the schedule? Good.
No, man. I'm ready for the season, man. Shit, this should hurry up and come.
I love it. It's actually it's a very underrated day in the NFL. Is the schedule release. I just love seeing the schedule finally made and seeing what primetime games, what games you could potentially travel to. It's a great time of the year. So I actually love it. A very underrated day to see the schedule for the NFL. So
yeah.
With that being said, that is going to be a wrap. Hope you guys all enjoyed this episode. This is a late night one, and we'll see you guys soon. I'm out, guys. Peace.
All right, y'all. It's your boy Malcolm. Hopefully we have some training camp talk coming up. Training camp is gonna be coming up soon, and yeah, we'll be back, man. Some content, man. But with that being said, man, I am out. Peace.